It's time once again for your weekly dose of amazing facts. But before we begin, I wanted to make you guys aware of a brand new initiative called the European Cancer Community Foundation. I actually just got back from Brussels, Belgium, where I was invited to the launch of this wonderful organization that aims to end inequalities in cancer treatment and funding for people. Cancer is something that will affect all of us, whether directly or indirectly in our lifetimes. And the more that we support these organizations, the faster that we can eliminate this terrible disease. So please check out the link in the description if you're interested, and donate to this great cause if you feel inclined. Here are 50 amazing facts to blow your mind. A Colorado man named Wayne Watson was awarded $7 million in damages after he developed a lung condition from eating 2 bags of popcorn every day and inhaling the steam from the bag. Japanese sumo wrestlers' life expectancy is between 60 and 65 years old, or about 20 years less than the typical Japanese male. Before it was known that birds migrated in the winter, it was a commonly accepted theory that birds dug holes and buried themselves in the ground during the cold months. In fact, Aristotle claimed he had found swallows and kites in holes in the ground. Unlike most of his astronaut colleagues, Apollo 13 astronaut Jack Swigert was single and had the reputation of being a playboy who liked to party. There are as many smokers in China as there are people in the United States. Approximately 70% of the world's vegetarians live in India. A 176-year-old tortoise named Harriet died in 2006. It was reportedly collected by Charles Darwin himself during his 1885 voyage. US Space Force members are called Guardians, and they are organized into deltas. In 2024, the original design of Mickey Mouse loses its copyright protection. However, Disney can still take legal action if you draw it in color, because colored Mickey Mouse is still copyrighted until 2035. The legal age of adulthood is higher than 18 in 3 US states. In Alabama and Nebraska, it's 19, and in Mississippi, it's 21. In 1950, a man named Kevin Budden caught a deadly taipan snake by hand and hitchhiked to town, still holding the snake. He lost his grip and was bitten, but begged the snake and made the driver promise to get it to researchers. Kevin passed the next day, but the snake was used to create the first taipan antivenom. In 1977, scientists in a restricted zone on an island in Iceland that's closed off to the public discovered a tomato plant grown out of the solidified lava. Further research concluded that it was from a tomato seed grown from the defecation of a scientist. Up until the 1970s, movies were only copyrighted for 56 years. That means all movies released in 1967 and prior, as of the recording of this video, would be in the public domain by now. Instead, it was expanded to 95 years, and one must now wait until 2062. Venus flytraps will grow their own flower stalks long in order to save the bugs that pollinate them from being trapped and eaten. The most polluted place in the US is the Hanford nuclear site, home to 56 million gallons of nuclear waste, leaking storage tanks, and contaminated soil. Gatorade is similar in composition to a medical rehydration solution. Upon Harry Houdini's death, his magic equipment was inherited by his brother Theodore on the condition that it be burned and destroyed upon Theodore's death. But instead, the equipment ended up in the Houdini Magical Hall of Fame, a museum which burned down in 1995. Harley Quinn was originally intended to be a 1-episode background character in the 1990s Batman animated series. She was almost scrapped until her creator hired his college friend Arlene Sorkin to do a voice for her based on a clown character that she played. There was a man named Trichongius who was a celebrity in ancient Rome because of his ability to drink 3 gallons or 11.4 liters of wine in a single sitting. In fact, the Roman Emperor Tiberius was said to have been very impressed with him. The largest rose tree in the world, located in Tombstone, Arizona, was planted in 1885 and now covers 5,000 square feet and has a trunk that's 14 feet or 4.3 meters in diameter. Eat, Pray, Love is technically a single to Coyote Ugly, since both are about the author's life. Before Elizabeth Gilbert went to find her bliss in third world countries, she tended a bar at Coyote Ugly. The song Hey There Delilah was written about a woman who had a different boyfriend and turned down the lead singer of the band. frog saliva is a non-Newtonian fluid. The fluid is initially runny when the frog's tongue first hits its prey, helping it spread along the surface of their food. After the initial pressure drops, the fluid gets gooier and stickier, allowing the prey to be quickly brought into the frog's mouth. The movie Footloose is actually based on a real place of Elmore, Oklahoma, which banned dancing between 1898 and 1980. Many female insects mate only once in their lives. Insect populations can actually be controlled by releasing flocks of sterile males into the wild. Females mate with them, never give birth, and simply die. Hiroshima and Nagasaki were the two largest centers of the Christian population in Japan during World War II. The atomic bombing in Nagasaki killed 66% of Christians in the city. While Iceland doesn't have mosquitoes per se, it does have similar behaving blood-sucking insects called midges. Brass doorknobs have an antimicrobial effect called the oligodynamic effect. According to international space law, space is defined as common heritage of humanity, which makes territorial claims in space prohibited. The main purposes of this law are to prevent colonial claims and militarization of space. The manta ray has the biggest brain and by far the biggest brain-to-mass ratio of any fish, and is one of the few animals in the world that may pass the mirror test of self-recognition. A study from 2015 showed evidence that polar bears are submissive to grizzly bears, even when the latter is smaller, fewer, and/or not acting aggressively. Polar bears acted submissively towards grizzlies in 132 of 137 interspecific interactions at whale carcasses. In China, demand for horror is about 95% less than the global average due to strict censorship laws against the supernatural and superstition. Originally, the Barbie movie was supposed to come out in 2018 with Amy Schumer as Barbie. Sonar is actually lethal. At 235 decibels, the vibrations can rupture your lungs and cause brain hemorrhaging. Smoke from wildfires is composed of volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, that interact with UV radiation to create benzene and formaldehyde compounds in the atmosphere, causing that burnt plasticky smell. The Amazon River drains about 61 million gallons or 230 million liters of water into the ocean per second. This is greater than that of the world's next 7 largest rivers combined and accounts for 20% of total river water discharge worldwide. The coffee break was first utilized during World War II at a necktie factory in Colorado. Wigwam weavers gave 2 coffee breaks a day to its workers so that the caffeine boost would increase productivity. In 2013, the number of US children named Cheese skyrocketed 450%. Intelligent people are more likely to abuse alcohol and drugs. A Chicago man named Russ Gremmel, now 98 years old, who bought $1,000 in stock about 70 years ago, has given the resulting $2 million to a wildlife charity. In 1950, a Californian engineer designed a unique system to transport water to the southern deserts, using 400 artificial geysers that would throw water in an arc at 400 miles per hour through the air to be caught by a funnel at the next geyser. The deepest fish ever recorded was found at a depth of 8,336 meters, more than twice the depth of the Titanic. In 2010, New Jersey lost $400 million in federal education reform money due to submitting data from the wrong school year. This lost them 4.8 points, making them fall 3 points short of receiving federal aid, which went to Ohio instead. The Bank of England has a 100 million pound banknote, also referred to as a Titan. It's a non-circulating Bank of England sterling banknote used to back the value of Scottish and Northern Irish banknotes. Until the early 1920s, most astronomers thought that the Milky Way contained all the stars in the universe. Following the 1920 Great Debate between the astronomers Harlow Shapley and Herbert Doust Curtis, observations by Edwin Hubble showed that the Milky Way is just one of many galaxies. In 1929, the author of Peter Pan, J.M. Barrie, gave the copyrights to the books to the Great Ormond Street Hospital. In 1988, the hospital was given unique right to the royalties from Peter Pan in the UK for perpetuity. Alexander the Great founded as many as 13 cities during his rule, 10 of which had Alexandria in their name. There were 26 families of passengers on the Mayflower that are known to have left descendants. It's estimated estimated that over 30 million people can trace their ancestry back to those 26 families on the Mayflower. Wilt Chamberlain is the reason players have to stay behind the foul line when shooting a free throw. While at KU, thanks to his 7-foot height and 7-foot 8-inch wingspan and 50-inch vertical, he would start from the top of the key, leap before the foul line, and dunk the ball before he touched the ground in the lane. In 1925, a forger named Alves Reis convinced Portugal's money printer to make him 200,000 bills worth 1% of Portugal's GDP. They were easily laundered since they weren't actually counterfeit. To cover his tracks, he started buying a controlling interest in the Bank of Portugal, but was caught. He was 28 years old. But thank you for making it to the end. If you want to catch my next video, subscribe on YouTube or follow my Facebook page and have notifications on. I post my videos on both platforms. And of course, I have almost 1,000 videos, so feel free to browse through them because I guarantee you there's one just for you. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys next time.